Hey, hey everybody, welcome. My name is Bill Harvey with the Auto Sales Academy. Reason why there was a little bit of a delay there, I really wasn't sure what to say, is I'm running two platforms. So on this side we have the Instagram platform, and on this side we have the Facebook platform. So I hope you're having a fantastic day. And what I want to talk to you about, and as the advertisement had been set out leading up to this fantastic event, is a pipeline, filling your pipeline with hungry, anxious shoppers and buyers who really want to buy your stuff. And by stuff, I mean automobiles. That's what we're talking about, which includes power sport, because power sport, as we've talked about before, has escalated to that point where I get a lot of calls from the power sport industry, from the manufacturers, from the dealers and individual salespeople just like yourself, that we're at that price point, starting at 20 grand, average price of a side-by-side into the 40s and well into the 60s. And I'm not telling you folks in power sport where you're at. You know that already. And telling those individuals that are selling automobiles, saying, you know, why do we have anybody? Why do you keep making reference to ATV and snowmobile and motorcycle and side-by-sides and ATV and UTVs, Bill? Because we have some people in the audience, in the room, looking for that information. I have a number of clients at the Auto Dealership Academy that are power sport retailers, because it is an automobile dealership just like our domestics and our imports, both luxury and Japanese and Korean imports as well. Now, what I wanted to share with you is how you can control the traffic that is coming into your showroom, the traffic that's coming to your desk, and the traffic that's making your phone ring, and the traffic that is emailing you and requesting more information or a quotation and anything along those lines. Because here's the two kinds of traffic, not sources. I'm not going to talk about sources and where traffic comes from. I'm going to just talk about two kind of traffic, because nobody ever talked to me about this before until I was driving along one day and I'm thinking, what kind of traffic is there? Are there multiple streams? Are there multiple lines? That's the platforms. Yes, absolutely. But really, let's boil it right down to clean the crumbs and the crust off of this whole equation, and let's boil and distill it right down to its very basic roots. What are the two kinds of traffic that we have? Well, number one is traffic that you don't own, interestingly enough. So this is traditional advertising. This is what your OEM does. This is what your retailer does. This is all the things that are blasting a message, puking data and information and numbers, bamboozling and confusing the conscious mind of anybody that is interested in purchasing your product. And that's why I say what we want to do with a pipeline is get in front of those shoppers that aren't actually shopping before advertising and marketing gets a hold of them and hooks them and pulls them into the shopping equation. Because when advertising gets a hold of them, that's when the low gross, no gross deals kick in, and you get frustrated because it feels like you're spinning your wheels in Mississippi mud trying to put these people together who take your advertisement, which is already an amazing, terrific, super incredible deal, right? The best price that you can quote anybody is an advertised price, because we can't stop where that number goes to. We can't stop who gets a chance to see that. So my name is Bill Harvey. I'm with the Auto Sales Academy. I created this private members group for all of you, exclusively for those members of the Auto Sales Academy, to come together as a mastermind for us to talk and share ideas and stories and successes, wins and failures, and gain, more importantly, what I'm here to share with you, because this is what I do and what I love to do. My passion is speaking, training, teaching, and to give you those tactics and suggestions so that you can achieve your maximum potential. So let's talk about cultivating your success. This is where you dive into your marketplace to fill your pipeline with individuals that you know will buy your product. And I've got to think the easiest place to do so, if you've been in the business for 30 days and you've sold 6 automobiles last month, you dive into those 6 automobile owners' lives. Now, I don't mean physically dive into them and creeping them on social media platforms and bumping into them at the coffee shop and asking them if you can hang out with them. That can be a little bit awkward and weird if you haven't built enough of a relationship. But on the other side of the equation, you know, selling automobiles, especially the price of the automobiles that we sell, including Powersport, you really generate a very special relationship with everyone that you're sitting down and talking with. It's kind of like the builder of your house, those that are doing renovations on your home. If you haven't been through this experience, then you'll have the opportunity to look forward to it. When you're spending a lot of money with these individuals and it really is in the direction of what you want to do and they're playing to that, they become special friends who really understand how you think and doing what you want to do. Well, these customers that you just sold automobiles to purchase from you by you earning the KLT badge of honor, that know, like, and trust factor. So for you to create a pipeline of customers for yourself, it is super easy with just six buyers last month, let alone the shoppers. The shoppers are another thing. We're going to come to that. But with the six buyers that purchased from you, that gave you that KLT badge of honor, know, like, and trust, now you ask them for 2 referrals each. You just filled your pipeline with 12 leads for this month. A lot of us don't think in this capacity. You know, we're so anxious to sell an automobile and rush out onto the showroom floor and let's get another one, and let's get another one, let's get another. And if you've ever done a hat trick, 3 in one day, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's just a rush of endorphins. It's just so exciting. It's amazing. And you can't help but want to get out and help more people because whatever you're doing is all the right things and they're purchasing. Now, those referrals, as much as you think to yourself, yeah, but it's never happened, Bill, and I really don't want to beg for deals, and I'd just rather wait for them to wait for another customer like they did to show up at the showroom, and then I'll take them through the 8 steps process, and I'll negotiate and close a deal, and that's really how I'd like to do it. And the reality is that's traffic you don't control. So let's go back to the 2 kind of traffic. The traffic you don't control from general advertising leaves you feeling like you're riding a roller coaster. It's up and it's down, up and it's down, up and it's down. And for some of us, we can go down into a very deep trough for a long period of time. And this is also seasonality kicks in too, right? That as we move forward into the latter quarters of the year, getting close to the holiday season where people start getting distracted about either not achieving their goals, which could be their business goals, which is definitely tied directly to their income goals, or it could just be individuals saying, yeah, I'm just not where I thought I'd be in terms of income goals, and the holiday season's coming up, and I better start saving. And so the big purchases, such as what we sell, get set aside. You know what I'm talking about. That's traffic you don't own, traffic you don't control. However, with the customers that you have sold to is traffic that you can generate that you own. First of all, you can ask for those repeats, or pardon me, I'm going to come to repeat. I'm getting ahead of myself. You can ask for those referrals because you've earned the right to do so. And anybody who has purchased from you is possibly expecting you to, and you let them down when you don't. And they think to themselves, you know what? I wouldn't mind referring Bill to friends, family, previous coworkers, current coworkers, my colleagues within my business, my neighbors down the road, my pals at the squash court and at the racket club and at the golf club and soon to be the ski and snowboard club and all the rest of it. What we want to do is not so much shift focus from one to the other, but just to balance the portfolio. When showroom traffic goes down, your efforts can increase on traffic that you can control, which is asking for those referrals. And you don't just ask them, hey, do you know anybody who would like to purchase an automobile? The conditioned response is always no. You need to tell them that they're going to meet people who complement their choice of automobile. And if they wouldn't mind remembering that individual and then passing their name along to you so that you can follow up with them, And not so much to sell them an automobile today, tomorrow, this week, or even this month, but to make that contact so that you are top of mind. And this is traffic that you control, as opposed to advertising, which is traffic that you don't control. And that's why I say it's a balance. In the very end of Q4 at Christmas time, you will find advertising ramp up significantly. And this is where we start to get a few more phone calls, a lot more emails, and a few more people walking in. And that's perfectly fine, because now we've got a lead. And of course, we can work that lead over and over. And that becomes traffic that you control. So when it comes to repeat business, with only being in the business 30 days, and if we were live and you were asking me a question, I hope you really challenge me on this. I hope you really take me to task. Don't make it easy for me. You say, Bill, I really want to sell double digits every single month. And if you're in double digits and you're selling on a consistent 12, 13, 15 a month, I really hope you'd say to me, Bill, how do I get into 20? How do I hit 20? Those guys that do 20, when you did 20, what did you do? And if you're in the 20s, Bill, how did you do 30 a month? Not one time, consistently, over and over again, without stressing yourself out, without lying awake in bed wondering, is everything going to come together? Will your deliveries be ready? What if every single customer comes in the same time? How will you juggle that? When you're supposed to go out on demonstration drives with them, when you're supposed to do walk around presentations with everybody. The bottom line is, let's worry about that when we get there. For now, if you've been in the business for 30 days and you sold 6 automobiles last month, you've got 12 customers, as I just mentioned, to get referrals from. But you've also got 6 customers that probably, like I'm talking 9 out of 10 of them, have a second vehicle in the driveway. And I'm certain of this. Whomever drives that second vehicle is probably looking at the brand new automobile that this individual just got and thinking to themselves, wow, I'd like to have a new car too, a new truck, a new SUV, a new van. And this is where your flywheel starts to spin when you think in this capacity. Who do I know that already trusts me, likes me, knows that I am capable of doing this? And how do I get in front of them just to bring in more traffic? Because this is our second bullet point, network magic. This is when you learn how to ask and request those referrals, and you learn how to confidently and competently draw in the clients that you just sold last month to have a look at a second new vehicle in their driveway. The secret, obviously, being selling, identifying the pain point so that you can help them with the pleasure of owning the new one. Now you take this whole concept that you've pioneered with those perfect strangers and bring it into your network. One of the worst things that I hear on a regular basis is when a sales consultant is struggling miserably. They feel like they can't close the broadside of a barn door. And I can associate with that. Remember, I told the story. I sold 0 vehicles one month. It was miserable. Dressing up every single day in a suit and tie. It was Q1. It was the beginning of the year. It was cold. It was snowy. It was dark. It was dark in the morning. It was dark early in the evening. I worked longer hours than I ever had. There was nobody coming in the showroom. I was desperate to make this work. And of course, it did not work out for me. But what I learned from that were all the things that I should never do again, which actually included picking up the phone book and cold calling people out of the phone book. And the level of rejection is incredible. The number of people that hang up and they were extremely angry with me that I called and interrupted their evening, because that was the only time to do it. And that's the only time it made sense. I could have made all those calls during the day and left a bunch of voicemails, but that would have just been going through the exercise for the purpose of doing it. I recognized very early, if I'm going to do anything at all, there's got to be a return on investment. And so I needed to reach these people to bring them back in. However, what I hear on a regular basis for those individuals that are struggling so miserably is that they're not working their network. They're not going to friends and family. They're not going to neighbors. They're not going to previous colleagues. Network magic is absolutely magic. It really is that. You have no idea who in your network just because you asked would never go anywhere else to purchase anything at all other than to deal with you. But if you don't ask, here's the really unusual part with networking that I've always discovered. If you don't ask, they assume, and we all know what assume means, they assume that you have no interest in helping them out or in offering your services, and therefore they just feel like a stranger coming in to speak to you, and it's uncomfortable, especially if it were your best friend. Just imagine that. If it was your best friend and they felt uncomfortable coming to see you because you hadn't reached out to them, lost opportunity, right? And a lot of people do that. They go to another stranger to purchase from because, well, gosh darn it was just easier. You know, my pal didn't call me and let me know that he's selling automobiles and that he could help me out. And even though I don't like the product that he's selling, I would probably drive it. But you could probably, pardon me, excuse me, get them something that they would like to drive. Got this weird tickle in the back of my throat. I don't know what it is. I keep coughing, and it seems to be something there, but it's not COVID. I don't have COVID. I didn't have COVID. Don't worry about anything like that. Of course, you can't get as much as I know by just watching me on the screen. That's the beauty of this too, right? This is the contingency plan in case that ever does happen and come along. Now, the next part of the equation for you to fill a pipeline of hungry, anxious buyers is obviously with social media, because we need to be top of mind for all of these people when they think about purchasing. And of course, as we move forward, I don't know if you're noticing it, but YouTube is my telltale example, my telltale sign for me that, all right, the holiday shopping season and the craziness is now underway because the ads start going crazy on YouTube. And I think YouTube's getting a lot of complaints about it because are you getting this pop-up down at the bottom? Do you want to avoid seeing all these ads? Click here and go to premium or learn more about premium. And you can tell that, yeah, the advertising machine is cranking out, and of course, as our inventories are building everywhere and in the large department stores, as well as for most importantly, us out in the automobile showroom floor, including Power Sport, there's going to be a lot more advertising. And so what we need to do is get in front of that advertising, or more importantly, the old adage, the person in the room with the loudest voice seems to be the most intelligent. Well, that is you with respect to social media as people are thinking about purchasing, especially in your region. You want to be out in front of them as much as you possibly can, and that creates a pipeline. We're not talking about funnels here. We're not talking about hooks and offers, and we're not talking about reasons for them to pick up the phone or to walk in and see you. All we're talking about is a pipeline. How do we bring these people into our pipeline to want to respond to our hooks, to learn more, any kind of a lead magnet, to a trade-in, credit application, learn how you can save money by putting money down on your automobile before picking it up and having an equity position as opposed to no money down, how to pay less interest on a loan. You could create white papers on this, and these are what the lead magnets are, but that's drawing people into the funnel. I'm just talking about the pipeline. We need to be on the social media platforms that you are familiar with. And if you don't know really which platform to pick, you don't know what tactics to leverage so that you don't now have a strategy to work on, I'll link below an opportunity for a discovery call where I'll tell you exactly what a 2-second strategy is. And it's not on every platform. You don't need to be everywhere, but when you harness the potential of what the platform's communication ability is, oh my gosh, the pipeline really starts to flow. And that's spinning the flywheel. And what you could be doing, now bear with me, this is a long-term strategy. I can't just have short-term Band-Aid fixes for you because you're always going to be coming back in here and say, okay, that worked in October. What have you got for November, Bill? That worked in November. What have you got for December? We need to create an ongoing pipeline, something that is feeding you 20, 30, 50, 60, 100 people per month on a consistent basis. Because at the end of the day, it is a game of numbers, isn't it? If you increase your closing ratio, you don't need as many people coming in. But if you don't increase your closing ratio, and you like talking to lots of people, and you live in a big metro marketplace, then it's just about getting more people in front of you. So that's what social media, let's drop the term social. Let's just call it media. Let's become a media master. And you start off with one platform, quite frankly. Now, I'm doing two in this particular case, but they're closely tied, right? They're owned by the same company and they can share information back and forth. This live video is just not one of the things they can do yet. Got that little tickle. Should have had a glass of water. My apologies, gang. My wife says I've got to drink more water. My doctor said I have to drink more water, and certainly when I'm racing my mountain bike, yes, I do get scrutinized and ridiculed by the gang in the pits that I'm not drinking enough water. It's just not top of mind for me, but I will work on it. And this little tickle in the back of my throat, God, golly, I wish I'd gone to the cafeteria and got a glass of water for this session. So bear that cough with me. My apologies. Follow-up is the next bullet point that I want to share with you that will fill a pipeline full of hungry, anxious buyers for you because you're top of mind all the time. Follow-up is so easy to do in today's day and age, and follow-up has always been the highest level of expectation for any shopper on their list, whether you are someone that they can believe and trust to purchase from. So give some thought to what is your follow-up sequence? How many emails do you send out to one individual who expresses some interest in your product? You want to have, red hot email, and they should be on your red hot top 10 people per day that you're following up with. And that could be telephone call, email, or even a personal visit if they live locally to you. Follow-up gives you that opportunity to find out, again, really what they're looking for. As much as they told you either on the phone or in an email or better in the showroom why they want to move to the new vehicle, you may have to do some follow-up and discover what you didn't touch on or what they didn't actually say that is the whole picture about why they want to go with this automobile right now. Now we can, once we have perfected our repeats and referrals, we're leveraging our network of friends, family, and relatives. And when we speak about friends, family, and relatives in that network magic, I would say that your parents, closest friends, are part of your network. Your best friend and their parents are part of that network. Your best friend's best friend is part of that network. It's a lot like the physical metaphor, the pebble in the pond, right? When we drop the pebble in the pond, the first wave are the hot buyers. These are the people that have the highest level of know, like, and trust with you. And then, as the wave starts to flow and peter out towards the edges, that becomes colder traffic. Now, I don't believe that we deal with a lot of cold traffic. It's always warm traffic. Anybody that you're talking to is interested in your product. Maybe not today, tomorrow, next week, next month, but within 6 months, within a year's time, be it automobiles or power sport, they're probably coming in to purchase something from you. That's where your follow-up kicks in. And of course, the social media mastery keeps you top of mind. So when we line up all of those four things, we're ready to move on to offline opportunities, because this time of the year is really what it's all about. We're moving towards power sports show and we're moving towards automobile show, including boat show and RV show, and it's show time of the year, in other words, which is great. And I love show time of the year because it gives you such an awesome opportunity to get in front of people filling your pipeline that you may not otherwise ever meet. Perfect strangers, people who will drive hundreds of kilometers and miles to attend a show. Now you can put them into your follow-up sequence and drip out content to them all the time. If you're the individual with the know, like, and trust badge of honor, they can do a deal with any one of you on all of your products virtually. They can send you, they can e-transfer you a sum of money. They can need to transfer you several large sums of money so that it is paid for. Most people are going to finance, so it's just a matter of paperwork going back and forth, the credit application, the contracts will be signed. Really, it just comes down to delivering the actual product is going to be the most difficult part. But none of this happens if you don't attend those shows. For me, it's getting on stages with colleagues and other interesting people in our industry, all talking about the same sort of thing, sales training in the automotive industry for power sport and automobile dealers alike. That is the great part about it. And then you watch these programs and you say, hey, there's a guy I believe that can help me achieve my maximum performance. None of that is possible without these offline opportunities. If you come into your dealership every single day just to sit at your desk and wait for the up bus to come in, or worse, I don't think that's you. That's not your kind of behavior. But if you're watching others that come in every single day and they sit down at their desk, and goodness knows, throughout my career, I watched a ton of them not talk to anybody all day long. And I paused for a second there. I got tripped up on my words, but not talk to anybody for days, some of them weeks. And you wonder, what on earth? Why on earth? How on earth are you coming into this place every single day and enduring that kind of torture? Look, if you know anybody like that, please pass their name or pass our private members group on to them. And so they get in here and they get to learn some of these tactics that could significantly change their mind and actually change their life more than just change their mind. My apologies. Now, just before we wrap it all up here, I just want to share with you the online advertising tactics that you can utilize as well. The wonderful thing about so many of these media platforms that are online is it requires a whole lot less bricks and mortar, and yet it reaches a whole lot more targeted people that would like to purchase your products. So the secret is knowing the platform, understanding their advertising guidelines, first of all, because you can get banned from doing advertising with them. And that's nothing new. In traditional advertising was exactly the same way. They don't allow profanity, and they didn't allow nudity, and they didn't allow bigotry or anything outside of being a kind, warm-hearted, caring individual to be advertise on their platform. Because at the end of the day, even in the traditional version of advertising, right, print, radio, and TV, we're still watching that channel that owns the content, that radio station that owns the content, and that newsprint organization that owned the content and produced the content. So the bottom line is online advertising is really easy to do, fall within the guidelines, very inexpensive to purchase, but there is a secret to not blowing your brains out. And I would, if that is the route that you want to go, and I would encourage you to do it, absolutely. If you want to get into the 20s per month, and I'm talking not 20 people in your pipeline selling 20 automobiles per month, then you are going to need to consider a paid advertising structure. And of course, if you want to hit the 30s, I don't believe it's possible without having paid advertising. But having said that, it's not expensive either. And if you're at the 6 to 8 cars a month and you want to be at the 15, it will definitely accelerate your ability to get there. The secret is knowing the ins and outs so that your return on investment, your return on clicks, that's what the investment is. And all of these advertising platforms are going to tell you how much reach they have and how many clicks you'll get. And if people are clicking on your things and not buying your product, in other words, they're not booking appointments, they're not coming in, they're not looking for trade appraisals, then you're doing a great job of blasting a message about you, but it's certainly not of interest to them. We need to make sure that your return on investment, your spend, yields sales. Otherwise, we've just got the wrong message, or we're on the wrong platform, or we're just pitching what people don't necessarily want to have. And then the online advertising world will prove that very quickly, which can feed to your organic structure of networking and repeat and referral and creating that message, pulling it all through your social media to drive everybody to you. Because at the end of the day, my last bullet point is the continuous learning that you must do in this capacity over and over again. Look, as we recover fully from the inventory shortage, and of course, I know there are some other constraints with respect to strikes and union negotiations that are going on for us. None of this is not new. Yes, it could be frustrating for you to go through and you just wonder why we have to keep enduring it. It is the reality. It's the game of business, so to speak. Your continuous learning, trying to figure out what is the angle that you can leverage in this particular market. And by particular market, I don't mean that as we recover from the supply shortage, and I don't just mean Q4, I mean right now, 2023, this month of October, what can you do? What can you learn? And I would start with book a 15-minute strategy, a 15-minute discovery call with me. And if you really like what I'm talking about, then we can move it forward to a 45-minute strategy call where I'll really share with you some strategy and the tactics that are perfectly aligned to make that strategy work. But in the beginning, 15 minutes could really change your life. Book that call. Do a little bit of continuous learning with me. If you think what I have to share with you, especially in the manifesto, would work for you, then we can explore what all of that is going to be about. And of course, the manifesto is dynamite. You get the online on-demand learning platform as well as weekly classes. And of course, the opportunity to work with me one-on-one is absolutely magnificent. So I've been told. I think it's a great idea, but the feedback is magnificent, and I'll do a better job of publicizing that and putting that in the group and letting you see what other people are talking about. Just make sure you are continuously filling your knowledge vault with what can be done to sell automobiles at this particular point in time. And of course, you're looking for the fundamentals of what that continuous learning is to sell more automobiles, because fundamentals don't change. The buyer does not change. How and why they buy does not change. The fundamentals are called that for a reason. They're the building blocks. The nuances of how buyers want to be treated and how they want to receive information and how they want to receive their automobile, yeah, that changes. Expectations change. But how they and what they and why they buy doesn't change. That is fundamental. So continue to sharpen your saw, so to speak, and build your acumen so that you are capitalizing in the market when others are going to be sitting around twiddling their thumbs and worried, oh my gosh, how am I going to pay my bills? And you pay your bills by filling a pipeline of hungry, anxious shoppers. And if you want to know more about that, book a 15-minute strategy session with me. The link will be below. Thanks so much for joining me today, everybody. My name is Bill Harvey with the Auto Sales Academy. I look forward to meeting you sometime on the phone or a Zoom call and finding out what you expect of yourself to achieve maximum potential, and if I can help you. Have a wonderful day, an amazing week, and a super weekend. Well, next week, I have a big surprise, big reveal and announcement. I'll start trickling some information out tomorrow on that, so there will not be a live here in the group on Wednesday. I have an even bigger announcement to make, something I've never done. I don't do this. I didn't do it in the past. I'm going to make a fantastic offer, open, available. My team said this is something that we're not doing and that the audience would like to see. So I hope you capitalize on it, take advantage of it. Keep an eye out for this big reveal, this super fantastic offer, and we'll see how it works. We've put together some really super fantastic pricing on it. So we believe that this will be one of those things where you're just like, oh, I don't know how to pay for it, but I'm going to do it. And of course, it is not expensive. That is the most important part of the equation. So, it's just a matter of saying to yourself, will I do the work? That is more important than actually spending the money. Way too many books, way too many programs purchased where people don't do anything with it. You need to decide, is this right for me? And then move forward and dedicate just a few minutes a week to it, to fill this pipeline, Get yourself in a constant double-digit sales rate per month, even going into slower economic times, and especially if the economy does go into recession, like so many economists are forecasting for Q1 next year. Insulate yourself. Protect yourself from that. Continuous learning and get the manifesto, that whole system to be able to do so. Keep an eye out for that offer that is happening next week. We'll talk to you again real soon. I will be back on live in 2 weeks' time. So we will talk to you then. Have a wonderful week. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye for now.